Why we trust strangers' reviews. Before you buy something online, there is a tiny ritual most of us perform. You scroll past the shiny photos, you glance at the price, then you look for the stars, not the company's promise, not the polished product description. The strangers. Someone you have never met says the headphones are comfortable. Another says the hotel room was noisy. A third says the blender broke after 2 weeks. Suddenly, these unknown voices can feel more useful than the brand, the ad, or even your own first impression. That is strange if you think about it. We warn children not to trust strangers. Then we let anonymous strangers guide what we eat, watch, book, download, and buy. So why does it work? Why can a review from someone with no face, no context, and no relationship with us feel so convincing? The answer is not that people are foolish. The answer is that reviews press several very old buttons in the human brain. They offer safety, shortcuts, social proof, stories, warnings, and permission. They make modern shopping feel less like gambling alone. Reason 1. The crowd feels safer than the salesperson. A seller has an obvious goal. They want you to buy. A crowd looks like it has no single agenda. Even if one person is wrong, 100 people seem harder to fool. This is social proof. It is the feeling that if many humans made the same choice, there must be something real there. It is not perfect logic. Crowds can be wrong. Crowds can be manipulated. But crowds are still useful. Our brains evolved to learn from groups, because group knowledge saved time and risk. If everyone avoids a strange berry, you probably do not need to personally test whether it is poisonous. If everyone says a path is flooded, you probably take another path. Online reviews turn shopping into a modern version of looking around the village and asking, what did everyone else survive? Reason 2. Reviews lower the fear of wasting money. Most purchases contain a little mystery. Will the shoes fit? Will the restaurant be worth the trip? Will the course actually teach anything? Will the hotel look like the photos when you arrive tired at midnight? A review gives us a preview of the future without paying the full cost ourselves. It lets someone else go first. That is why negative reviews can be oddly comforting. A page with only perfect praise can feel too smooth. A complaint about slow shipping or a small scratch gives the object edges. It feels more real. We are not only looking for praise, we are looking for the shape of the risk. We want to know what might go wrong, how often it goes wrong, and whether we could live with that downside. A review does not remove risk. It turns vague fear into a visible trade-off. And visible trade-offs are easier to handle than invisible ones. Reason 3. Specific details feel like evidence. A review that says great product is easy to ignore. It could mean anything. It could have been written in 10 seconds, but a review that says the handle is comfortable, the zipper sticks a little, and the battery lasted through a 4-hour train ride suddenly feels alive. Specificity creates trust because it sounds harder to fake. Our brains love concrete details. We can picture the train ride. We can imagine the zipper. We can compare that tiny story with our own future use. The review becomes less like an opinion and more like a little field report from someone who went first. This is also why photos and videos inside reviews matter so much. They make the claim feel anchored in the real world. A wrinkled shirt can teach you more than a polished model shot. The imperfection becomes proof that a real person touched the thing. Reason 4. Strangers can seem more honest than friends. Friends are wonderful, but they come with baggage. They know what we like. They may want to be polite. They may recommend an expensive restaurant because they had a special night there. They may hate a movie because they were in a bad mood. A stranger, weirdly, can feel cleaner. They do not need us to like them. They do not have to protect our feelings. They do not gain social points from agreeing with us. If they sound annoyed, delighted, disappointed, or surprised, we believe the reaction is less filtered. Of course, that is not always true. A stranger may be paid. A stranger may exaggerate. A stranger may misunderstand the product completely. But emotionally, distance can look like honesty. The reviewer feels like a witness instead of a salesperson. And witnesses are powerful because they claim to have been there. Reason 5. We search for people like us. We do not trust every stranger equally. We look for the stranger who sounds familiar. Someone with the same problem, the same budget, the same taste, the same fear, the same use case. A parent reading stroller reviews looks for another tired parent. A beginner buying a camera looks for another beginner, not a professional photographer. Someone with sensitive skin looks for the reviewer who says the cream did not sting. Someone booking a quiet hotel looks for the guest who mentions the street noise. This is why the phrase, "if you are like me," is powerful, even when it is only implied. The moment a reviewer describes our situation, they stop being a random stranger. They become a temporary version of us, standing a few days in the future. We are not simply asking, "Is this good?" We are asking, "Is this good for a person like me?" That is a much more personal question. Reason 6. Reviews make invisible things visible. Ads are good at showing what a product looks like when everything goes right. Reviews show what happens after the beautiful photo. Does the fabric wrinkle? Does the app crash? Does customer service answer? Does the toy still feel fun after the surprise is gone? Does the restaurant treat people kindly when it is busy? Does the cheap gadget become annoying after a week? Many of the most important qualities are hidden at the moment of purchase. Durability is hidden. Comfort is hidden. Smell is hidden. Noise is hidden. Regret is hidden. Reviews pull those invisible qualities into view. They are not just ratings. They are tiny flashlights pointed at the parts companies would rather leave in shadow. That is why the most useful review is often not the most emotional one. It is the one that answers the question the advertisement skipped. Reason 7. Stars turn messy opinions into a quick signal. Humans are not built to read 500 essays before choosing lunch. We need shortcuts. Star ratings compress a messy crowd into one little signal. 4-point-something feels safe. 2-point-something feels dangerous. The number gives us permission to stop thinking so hard. But this shortcut can also trick us. A product with 10 perfect ratings may be less reliable than one with 10,000 mostly good ratings. A single angry review may feel louder than dozens of quiet, satisfied ones. The star is useful, but it is not the whole truth. It is a doorway into the story, not the story itself. The smartest shoppers use the stars to decide where to look next. Then they read enough details to understand what the number is hiding. Reason 8. Reviews give us emotional permission. Sometimes we already want the thing. We want the headphones, the cafe, the game, the hotel, the strange kitchen gadget, or the mysterious snack box. What we need is permission to feel reasonable. Reviews can provide that permission. They make desire look like research. A good review says, "Go ahead, this is worth it." A bad review says, "Careful, your hesitation is valid." Either way, the stranger helps us feel less alone in the decision. That may be the deepest reason reviews are powerful. They turn private uncertainty into a shared human moment. They let us feel that our choice is not just impulse, but participation in a larger pattern. Buying becomes less lonely when someone else has already opened the door. But there is a darker side. Wherever trust gathers, manipulation follows. Fake reviews, paid praise, review farms, selective deletion, and suspiciously perfect pages all try to imitate the sound of ordinary people. The internet learned that stranger trust is valuable, so it started manufacturing strangers. That doesn't mean reviews are useless. It means we need to read them like detectives, not worship them like truth. Look for patterns, not one dramatic comment. Notice details, not just emotion. Be suspicious of identical wording, perfect enthusiasm, and reviews that never mention trade-offs. The best reviews usually sound human. They have texture. They include a small downside. They explain who the product is good for and who should skip it. They don't feel like a billboard. They feel like someone leaving a note for the next person walking into the same decision. In the end, trusting reviews from strangers is not irrational. It is social learning wearing a digital outfit. We are still the same creatures who watched each other try the berry, cross the bridge, enter the restaurant, or buy the strange tool from the market. The only difference is scale. Now the village is enormous. The strangers are everywhere. The little stars can move billions of dollars. So the next time you hover over a purchase and scroll down to see what strangers think, remember what you are really doing. You are borrowing other people's mistakes, hopes, regrets, and tiny discoveries. You are asking the crowd a very old human question. Did this work for you? And should I trust it for me?